What's going on, guys? It's AB Sports. It is time for the third and final part of ranking the young quarterbacks on just their first start. This video will be the top 5.
At number 5, Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, drafted 32nd overall in 2018.
Lamar Jackson's first start was Week 11, 2018. It was a home game against the Bengals in which the Ravens won 24-21. In his first start, Lamar Jackson ran the ball 26 times, but it certainly worked out well for the Ravens. On those 26 carries, Lamar gained 119 yards and showed off his incredible escapability from the pocket, his decision-making on the read options, his ridiculous jukes, and his lightning-quick speed. He beat the Bengals linebackers to the sidelines every time he ran the ball. He also smartly ran out of bounds instead of taking a hit, knowing his style of play is one where sustainability is crucial. Even though the Ravens ran the ball most of the time, they were still able to drive the ball and put up points. In terms of throwing the ball, Lamar was competent. Most of his passes were quick slants across the middle or tight end slip screens to the outside. He made good decisions in that when he threw to these players, they had room to run. These passes were also very catchable, and he looks like a natural thrower even though he didn't throw it often. His escapability was evident on pass plays too. There were very few negative gains in this game due to Lamar's shiftiness and speed. If he wasn't able to find a receiver, he smartly threw it away. I counted 2 bad passes, one that was picked, but Lamar was able to win this game with his legs and not lose it with his arm. His final stat line was 13 of 19 for 150 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception through the air for a 70.1 QBR, and on the ground, 26 carries for 119 yards.
At number 4, Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, drafted 1st overall in 2018.
Baker Mayfield's first start was in Week 4, 2018. It was a road game against the Raiders in which the Browns lost 45-42 in overtime. In his first start, Baker Mayfield looked really good throwing the ball. He piled up nearly 300 yards on only 21 completions due to his frequent intermediate and deep shots, a majority of which were on target. The thing that stood out about Baker was his ability to make good, smart throws with a very quick release. He never waited too long in the pocket and seldom dumped it off. He made some beautiful deep throws, highlighted by the 49-yard touchdown to Fells. Mayfield should have had well over 300 yards. Antonio Callaway dropped 3 passes, and a few plays just featured outstanding defense to deflate his stats a bit. Baker frequently escaped from broken pockets and was a quarterback that could run when he needed to. Also, importantly, he was able to drive the Browns down the field many times. A few knocks on Baker would be the fact that even though he could drive the offense down the field, he struggled in the red zone. And in overtime, Cleveland had a possession but went 3 and out. Lastly, the turnovers. Baker lost 4 turnovers in this game, but they weren't a huge deal to me surprisingly. 1 fumble loss was due to a terrible snap. 1 interception was because the receiver flat out fell over. Another pick was on a Hail Mary attempt. The second fumble was on him, and Baker does need to be more careful with the ball, but all around he had a great first start. His final stat line was 21 of 41 for 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 2 fumbles for a 70.7 QBR.
At number 3, New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, drafted 6th overall in 2019.
Daniel Jones' first start was Week 3, 2019. It was a road game against the Buccaneers in which the Giants won 32-31. In his first start, Daniel Jones earned the nickname Danny Dimes by putting on a show in a victory over the Bucs in which he ignited a Giants offense that had previously been stagnant with Eli Manning. Danny Dimes was airing it out, and hence the nickname, dropping some dimes. With only 4 or 5 true dump-offs, Jones found his groove in the long to intermediate range in the middle of the field where he was perfect to Evan Ingram and Darius Slayton. He went through his progressions well and exhibited a strong arm. Also, Jones showed off athleticism and his amazing escapability. He did not have a throw with a clean pocket the whole game. The Giants' poor left tackle didn't look like he should be playing the same sport as Shaq Barrett rushing off the edge. Ball security was a problem for Jones. Barrett sacked him 3 plays in a row one time, and 2 of them resulted in lost fumbles. I will say those were all in the second half, which was after Saquon Barkley left the game with an injury. Barkley is an elite pass blocker, and Wayne Gallman is somehow worse than the Giants' left tackle pass blocking. The lack of protection makes Jones' game even more impressive. He had to roll out or stand in a collapsing pocket to make these throws. Giants lost Saquon late in the second quarter and were down by 18 at half. Things looked bleak.
but Danny Dimes opened up the half with a 75-yard touchdown to Evan Ingram and continued his marches up and down the field, ending with a 4th down touchdown run with a minute left in the game to give the Giants a win. His final stat line was 23 of 36 for 336 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with 0 interceptions, but he fumbled twice. 112 quarterback rating resulted from his passing stats, along with 4 carries for 28 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground.
At number 2, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, drafted 10th overall in 2017.
Patrick Mahomes' first start was Week 17, 2017. It was a road game against the Broncos in which the Chiefs won 27-24. In his first game, Patrick Mahomes was slinging it. He rode the bench all season behind Alex Smith as a rookie. The Chiefs had clinched their playoff spot and benched all their starters for Week 17. Enter Patrick Mahomes. Having to throw to Albert Wilson and Demarcus Robinson in freezing Week 17 Denver didn't stop Mahomes from putting on a show through the air. His touch was extraordinary. He would put the ball right where only the receiver could get it, with pressure in his face from a ferocious Denver defense. He took some sacks, but they weren't from holding onto the ball too long. They were because of a backup offensive line. And he looked very mobile, making plays with his legs in the pocket and outside the pocket. Mahomes seemed very smart. He had control of the pocket, got the ball off quick, always seemed to find the right man to throw it to for a 10-plus yard gain. There were only 2 or 3 short passes this whole game by Mahomes. He showed off his arm strength with many deep balls, some even overthrown and a few dropped. He needs to learn to throw the ball away instead of trying to force it to a wide receiver, as highlighted by an ugly first quarter pick. But he bounced back from it and led a 2-minute drill drive for a game-winning field goal with precision to back up weapons against a top 10 defense. His final stat line was 22 of 35 for 284 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, a 76.4 QB rating, 7 carries for 10 yards on the ground.
And number 1, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, drafted 2nd overall in 2016.
Carson Wentz had his first start in Week 1, 2016. It was a home game against the Browns in which the Eagles won 29-10. In this first start, Carson Wentz looked like a seasoned vet. In fact, he looked better than a seasoned vet. Starting before the play, he told the running back to line up in a different place multiple times. He also pulled out some excellent audibles and pointed out blitzers. I couldn't believe a rookie in his first start was already doing these things. The Eagles' offensive line did not have a stellar game. The Browns' pass rush got into Wentz's face many times, but either he took a shot to fire the ball to a receiver with pinpoint accuracy or smartly threw the ball away. There were a few times where he overthrew a wide receiver or waited too long to pass the ball. Those are expected mistakes, and they're few and far between. Wentz was very poised in the pocket and seemed to go through his progressions well. His deep ball accuracy was unreal. He put the ball where only his wide receiver could catch it on passes 25 or more yards down the field. Also, his stats were deflated by drops. Darren Sproles dropped 4 passes, and some receivers dropped passes too, all of which should have been caught. Wentz's final stat line was 22 completions on 37 attempts for 278 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with 0 interceptions. It was a 101.0 QB rating, and rushing just 2 carries for 1 yard.
Thanks to NFL Game Pass for all this amazing footage. I hope you all enjoyed, and thanks for watching.